right now. Come on in here. Come on. Y'all, welcome to the Pursuit Club. So, whether you are in the club or you are a guest meaning that you are watching on one of my other platforms, and tonight we opened it up because we're having this casual, chill, but fun conversation with Kristen, aka KB, and she is going to be talking to us about heart convo. She's going to be talking to us about relationships, friendships, because I think friendships is one of those relationships that get lost many times. We talk about relationships, especially for us faith folks. We be like all focused on marriage, like that's it, and there's more to relationships than just marriage, right? Because we got to do life with people. So as you come in, you know what to do. For all my club baddies, you say hello, you take up your space, come on in here and make sure you say what's up, say something in the comments. We want you to take up your space here in the club. So whether you are in the club or not, you're welcome here. All right, so we have an opener we're going to kick off with. It's going to be a little bit of fun, but before we do that, let me give you guys a couple like house announcements, okay? We know that this month is our pursuit of the month is relationships. So our focus is about relationship growth. We know we cannot change other people. Our focus is around what can we do better to show up better. And so it is a we month. And so in that this month, we are having, of course, Baddies Book Club every Wednesday, our last one of the month. Can y'all believe that? The last Baddies Book Club of the month is this Wednesday. And we are reading none other than The Truth About Men by Devon Franklin. So we are chapter 7 and 8 for those who are reading along. And then this Friday, we're closing out Friday Fire. So we are just simply praying for our relationships in every capacity. So we are going to be praying specifically for next month. We're going to cover our month. We're going to kind of try to get ahead of it, get ready for it, okay? Still ourselves a little bit instead of just running through into the next one. That is what we're going to do, okay? All right, so let's see who's saying hey. We got Andrea in the building. Tina decided to drop a comment and say, hey, what's up, Keandra, Nevis, Robin, Tasha? Yes, whoever this person is who's not showing their name. Hey, girl, hey. Yes. Okay. Now, before I invite Kristen to the screen, we're going to do this little bitty opener. And this opener is really going to help us catch a real vibe of like our night, okay? Because we're talking friendships and relationships. And here's the question I want you to drop in the comments. What type of friend are you? Okay. So the question is, my friendship vibe is what? Are you the keep it real friend? That's option 1. Option 2, you the cheerleader friend. You like, friend, you can't do no wrong, friend. Friend, I'm here for you, friend. Are you the I might ghost you sometimes, friend? Like, we real cool, but I might not respond. Okay. That's option 3. Option 4 is the go-to wise friend. You are just a steady stream, right? People come to you just for the wisdom advice. 5 is bail you out, okay? Low key, you the friend that if somebody was cheating, look, you not telling the boo, you're not telling them. I'm gonna bail my friend out. My friend is never in trouble if I am the friend. 6, you are the turn up friend, okay? You the one ready to go in every single time, okay? So which one are you, or a combination of? Because I think some of us would be combinations. And if you have a new name, drop it. Drop it in the comments. Okay. Here we go. Okay, we get some more haze in here as your comments come in. Yes, V, it is such a great book. Welcome to the Pursuit Club. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I hope you join the club. What's up, bestie? My best friend is in the building from Chicago. Hey, Kushana's here. What's up, Kushana? I'd love to have you in the club. Thanks for hanging out with us. Okay, so we have our comments in from what type of friends we are. Robin says, I am friend number 3 after having my baby. Number 3 is, I might ghost you sometimes. We're not going to judge Robin. Okay. Robin is welcome here. Keandra says she is the number 1 friend, and that is keep it 100 with you. Look, and you turn up friend. We got you, Robin. Andrea, Lord, you are the friends, girl. Andrew says she all the friends, y'all. What is that? Hey, Jacille, come on in here. And this person says, I'm mostly number 2 right now, but I've been known to fluctuate. And let's see what number 2 was. The cheerleader friend. Yes. B says, my friendship vibe is a combination of cheerleader and steady stream. I'm going to be real with you as well. I love it. Jacille said, what you need? What kind of friend you need today? Okay, that's who you gonna get. Crystal, what's up, Crystal? Thanks for hanging out with the Pursuit Club tonight. I hope you join. Crystal says, hey, ladies, I can be 1 or 2. And who is that? Keep it real / cheerleader. Y'all, I think that's me too. I'm more in between of the, if you want accountability, don't tell me, because I ain't letting up. We gonna hit this goal. You hear me? Andrea says, depends on the friend. Look, that is so true. But I'm so glad that we have KB here with us, who's going to talk to us about friendship. Now, y'all, I have to bring my energy down because I am like on 5 million. I already told KB, I was like, girl, I'm fangirling. Who knew KB before you saw her pop up on our little flyer? I saw some of you guys comment on Instagram like, oh my God, my second favorite person to follow on Instagram. I love her so. My first favorite. I love it. Yes. Oh, hey, Janie. I'm going to stream you. I'll let you in. Wait. Yes. Giselle. Yes. We are excited. I think we are both excited together. She is like low-key celebrity. We're going to gas her up tonight. Look, everybody who's a creative, who has a platform, always needs encouragement, don't always get it. We're going to gas her up. So are you ladies happy and ready to welcome Kristen on screen with me so we can get into this conversation? Y'all, throw some emojis in the comments as I bring Kristen on screen with me. What's up, KB? You ready? In 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Yes. What's up? What's up? What's up? Listen.
Look, I am so ready for this conversation. And I think part of what makes me excited about it is because your Instagram, what you drop on Instagram is amazing. So you are consistently, right. Oh, look at you try. Look.
Right. Hey, I don't want to be sitting in the dark on y'all. So I was just trying to get some light going, but now I feel like we in the sun, but that's all right.
Look, all right. Everybody in the club, though, we keep it so real. They know I just got this plant. They were telling me because I just moved to Atlanta. So they're like, I'm like, y'all, we got to do something with the background. They're like, you just need a plant. So today for KB, y'all see me? Y'all proud? Yes, we got plants.
That's great. That's great. Listen, I appreciate you because I'm right now, we have actually been gone for, I don't know, maybe like a month. And so I just got back. And where I live, it's gonna sound like gunshots outside. I just live in a black neighborhood and they still popping off firecrackers because they believe doing that until August 1st, apparently. So anyway, this is a very real organic situation. I'm gonna show up as my most authentic self. So I appreciate y'all bearing with me.
I love it. Yeah, show up as yourself. So I am not popping firecrackers till Labor Day, but on 4th of July when we moved here, they were like, in this neighborhood, you can pop them. So in Texas, we couldn't. Yeah. Look, where are you? What state are you in?
I actually live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and in Virginia you can't. So that's where I tell people that I'm from. I'm actually a military brat, but yeah. So I'm in Indiana. They just do whatever they want.
Oh wow. Okay. Right. Now, in terms of, I want to give the formal welcome of you guys, and I know this is awkward for speakers, all right? Because I'm about to read about her, but she is like right here. But I need you guys to really understand who we have in the building. So everything you want on the other side of everything you want really in life is on the other side of a connection. KB or Kristen Newton is committed to helping women who want deep, meaningful relationships. That's us, right? Connect and communicate at the highest level using Heart Convos. What is Heart Convo? First, heartconvos.com is her site, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. But a heart convo is any conversation that is honest, okay, elephant-sized, authentic, real, or transparent. So KB looks forward to leaning into our conversation today. and she wants us to not waste time. So when we are in a place where we can truly grow, I think that's the best place to be. And so with KB being in the building with us today, that is what we're going to do. Yes.
Hey, for sure, for sure. I'm so excited, and I like it completely real and authentic. So y'all ask all the questions you want to ask. We can go there. We can make it happen.
Yes. So drop your comments and all that. And well, we ain't shy on that. So I don't even know if I had to tell them that. Y'all say something in the comments. Here we go. So I gave KB a couple of questions, y'all, and I'm gonna throw all of them on the screen right now so you kind of know what direction we're going tonight. But these questions are things that really came from kind of being with the club. This club is a baby. We've only been around for like 9 or 10 months. So it's been awesome just seeing the growth and things. So they kind of know the flow. But for those who are not, in the club yet, who we've allowed to be guests tonight, we want to share with them. Here's where we're going. Yeah. So one of the questions that I sent a KB that I thought would be really cool to talk about is simply this. Let's see. How do I make adult friends? I'm grown now. I got a job. I need friends. Where they at? Another one is, how do I have the talk with a friend who's actually crossed the line? Like it got thick at one point and now we need to have a conversation. And then just tips on making a friendship last. Okay, just in general. And then what about, I hurt my friend, can we recover?
Yes, okay. Yes.
And then this one I threw in just in case we had time. And it's this, KB. How do I know if my relationship is toxic? Not toxic can be overused. I know.
Oh, listen, there's a pandemic, a plague of toxic people who are here, like everywhere, and everybody's afraid of them. So yes, we can talk about toxic relationships.
Okay, so first we're going to start with ease into this conversation real smooth, and we're going to talk about making adult friends, because some of us need to either replace some, okay, or some of us just need to, make some new ones. So what are your thoughts around this?
Okay. So I get asked this question a lot, like a whole lot all the time, wherever I go. Well, how do you make friends as an adult? Right. And let me just say, just for context, I was a trash man for a very long time, like a very, very long time. Like, and I've always been outgoing and had a whole personality and, got this smile that just tells people like, hey, I want to be your friend. I struggle with like developing healthy attachments. Okay. So I'm trying to give you some context. I don't want you to think that, I'm coming into this conversation as the friend who's been hurt. Like, oh, I've been hurt and I've been let down by people and, like I've been abandoned and all this stuff. It's like, no, I've done all the things that you probably are going to say has been done to you. So again, some of that is connected to, my abandonment issues that I have with my dad. And then the other extreme of that, I think, is connected to the fact that I was just a military brat. And so, I'm only sharing this with you, like before we jump into the conversation, because we have to realize that our narrative, our experiences, our stories, right? Like they shape who we are, right? And they help us to know like who we are, how we are, and why we are. So let's get back to the question. The question, how do you make friends as an adult? Well, when someone asks me this, they're typically not asking me the question that's going to get them the answer that they want. Okay. So what they're essentially saying is, what do I got to do to get some friends? And which is communicating a few things to me, which is what I'm trying to answer, right? What they're trying to really get at, not really what the surface question is. And that is, if I have desire for friendship, right? Because you're communicating a desire for friendship if you're asking that question. If I'm having a hard time attaining those kinds of friendships, and then like, what is a practical map or step-by-step way to get those things? That's usually what people.
Is it even possible to have a map step-by-step to get to a person?
Like, what's the formula? What the formula is. And let me just say it don't really work like that. Unfortunately, but here's where you can start. Okay. I think the first thing you have to ask yourself when you're asking me that question, how do you make friends as an adult, is you have to be able to answer the question, what do you want? Like, what do you want in friendship? Because all friendships are not created equal. And so I have these things, I have this 5 levels of connection, or also known as my friendship tiers, where I explain to people that friendship is not just one blanket statement that you can throw everywhere. And so I think most people know that. So then they do this. They say, well, I have a best friend and I have acquaintances. Well, let's say this was like a funnel, right? It's wide at the top and it goes smaller at the bottom. Your best friend is probably at the bottom. Like they're in your inner circle. Like they're the closest one to you. Acquaintance is somewhere up here. So it's like, well, what's that gap? like in between, and I explain it in those 5 levels of connection. And so you're asking yourself the question, what is it that I want, right? Well, do you want a best friend? Do you want an acquaintance? Do you want somebody to go get coffee with? You want somebody to tell like your deepest, darkest secrets? Do you want somebody who like is just on the same path as you, like pursuing the same types of things? Like you want somebody to grow with? Y'all want to do a Bible study? Like, you know, like what do you want? Because again, relationship dynamics can look different depending on what you want. If you want somebody to just watch Married at First Sight with you, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a different level of instruction. You get what I mean? Like, but if you're like, no, I want to find someone who is loyal and authentic and real and wants to go deep and is not just here for all the surface stuff in the world. Like they're really just trying to like walk in their purpose and all that. I was like, okay, well, that's going to be a different formula. You know what I'm saying? Than somebody who's just looking for people to go hang out with. Does that make sense?
You're saying all friends don't have to be the same. So like
no.
when someone asks this question, how do I make friends? First, you made it clear it ain't just one way, one formula. And you have to know what you want is what I also heard you say.
Yeah.
So if you know what you want in a friend, real talk, it can come in a couple different people. You may need these things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll give you those 5 layers, the 5 levels of friendship. You got the funnel, you got strangers. You're going to know the most amount of strangers. And some people are like, well, how are you even friends with a stranger? Well, you're friends with people who you can make a bond or connection with an individual you only have information about. So you and I are strangers, but we share a common bond, like based on certain information that we just get from one another. It's kind of like
I share the bond. You don't know me till today.
Correct.
It's
kind of like finding out somebody's from your hometown. Like, where are you from?
Oh, yeah.
Where are you from? No, I'm asking. Where are you from?
Oh, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay, so somebody's like, oh my gosh, I'm from Memphis. What part? Then you find out like, oh my God, like you grew up around the corner from me. There's a bond there, but that person is still what?
A stranger.
It's still a stranger, right? But there's a bond that's been formed. And so now you're like, you got to be my new friend because we both from Memphis. You know what I mean? Now, when you say that, you don't mean like lifelong committed. We've been through the like trenches together. That's not what you mean. But you're just communicating like, hey, we formed a bond. So you got strangers, you got acquaintances. Acquaintances are people who you share the same types of investments with. Like you're invested in the same thing. Those could be people that you meet at the gym, people who, you know what I'm saying? Like you're in a club with, you know what I mean? Like you're invested in the same types of things. Health, like they're in my field at work, whatever. Then you have compatriots. Compatriots are people who you share the same interests. So it's not just about you guys are invested in the same things, but you're benefiting from those things in a similar way. Because everybody who's going to the gym ain't there for the right reasons. So there are some people who are going to the gym
trying to find a boo.
Listen, they're like, I'm trying to be summertime fine out here. Other people are like, no, I like almost died because I had a heart attack once, and I have to like be, like regular in my car. So now, if I find that out in your story, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like health is a huge part of my story too, because of law or whatever, you know what I mean? Like we can go a little bit deeper. So then you got compatriots. Then that 4th level is a comrade, and those are people who you're intentional with. And I tell people all the time, like that's the difference between your shallow friendships and your deep friendships is that intentionality. Like once you cross that line and you start being intentional, like you go to that 5th layer, which is intimacy with your inner circle. And so again, strangers, acquaintances, compatriots, comrades, and then your inner circle. And again, it's just like a funnel. It'll be more up here than down here. So everybody can't be your best friend. Everybody can't be in your inner circle, right? But you can have like a ton of like really strong, healthy, deep relationships that you're intentional with. Does that make sense?
So it totally makes sense.
That's the answer. How do you make friends as an adult? You figure out what you want in those 5 things. And then based on those things, you make the appropriate step based on what you want.
Earlier, you mentioned that how we grew up and different things kind of play a part in our story. And I would imagine that depending on different trauma we've had, that we could easily only be comfortable with like a compatriot, but we want
inner circle.
Inner circle. I was about to say intimate. Inner circle.
Yeah.
How many times have you interacted or talked to someone where you're talking to them, you're like, oh, I don't think you're ready for intimate? Because that requires sacrifice on both people's part, right?
To some degree, yeah. Like, because you can lead in vulnerability, right, in a conversation or connection with somebody. And if they don't respond with vulnerability, then that communicates something to you. And a lot of times people are like, well, I led with vulnerability. They didn't give it back to me. So now I'm cutting them off. Or this relationship can't go nowhere. No. It's just communicating to you that they might not be a level 5 friend. You know what I mean? Like you might not be inner circle material, but that doesn't change the fact that they're a great compatriot. You get what I mean? And I think sometimes we're like, if a person can't be everything to me, they can be nothing to me. And that's just not true.
I think that's like popular on social media. Like,
oh my God. And it's that is toxic. When you talking about toxicity, That's toxic. Looking for one person to be everything for you. And even if that's your spouse, like
Yes.
people, especially in church spaces, like it's just as long as I got
Say
King
it.
Jesus, like as long as I got King Jesus, I don't need nobody else. Here's the thing. God ain't even set it up that way. Okay.
He didn't.
Like he didn't. Otherwise,
me.
he would have raptured you when you got saved. You would have got saved and he would have been like, all right, come on, be with me. You know what I'm saying? Like you would be up in heaven right now. But he didn't let you down
Yes.
here with all of these people for a reason. So I think it's a narrative that feels good sometimes in the moment because we in our feelings about whatever. But at the end of the day, like the beams on the cross go two ways, right? Your direct relationship with him and your relationship with other people. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think people understand that. So that's just a little side note. But yeah,
I love it. Now, you don't figure out which level you want these people to be in, right? You have maybe met someone and maybe you connected with the stranger, and then it starts to roll through these various levels in friendship. And you're like, man, how do I not let this one fall off like all the rest? Okay. How do I make sure I don't mess this up? And I think there's some folks in the club who I've coached one-on-one and they have a little anxiety about this. KB, they're like, I don't even know how to not mess up these friendships or relationships, which no one's perfect. But what are some of the thoughts that you may just have in general about having a relationship or a friendship that lasts? Like,
that's a great question. Yes. And the answer is super easy. Intentionality. Like that's how you make anything last. That's how your workout, like being consistent in your workouts will last. That's how being consistent on that diet is going to last. That's how getting great or mastering a skill, right, is going to like actually happen. Like consistency as a result of being intentional. You get what I mean? And so kind of like that switch, like I said, from compatriot to comrade. Like if you're just intentional, and intentionality will look different in different seasons.
Yeah.
But again, I think we have embraced a narrative and believed a lie that says when we no longer share the same interest in investments, we can't be friends anymore. So a typical example is I was in college. We were both in the same sorority. We hung out. We did all the things together. But then we graduated and we went our separate ways. She's got kids now, married now, whatever. I'm still single, whatever. So now because we don't have the same interest in investments, you know what I'm saying? Like we can't be, and that's not necessarily true because if you could skip all of that and just start being intentional with a person that you have no information about, share no commonality with.
Ooh,
and
that's so good.
If you're intentional with them, you can form a bond. But again, we put so much stake or weight on the fact that, we got these same things happening. And people are looking for sameness because really they want reciprocity, they want fairness, they want these things. But in relationships, it doesn't work that way. And again, it's a whole lot of people who come from my neck in saying that, but I'm gonna say it because the reality is I don't know in the circles that I'm in, the people who I coach, like when are you ever at the same place in life, same time in life, space in life, even people who are spouses, right?
Yeah.
Like y'all are just at the exact same temperature level together all the time, every day. When? No.
Look, almost 15 years in this thing. No, we're all moving and flexing at different moments. This question came up on the screen. What about recovering from being known as a flake friend?
Baby, hey.
She said former flake friend here.
Listen, right. Again, one of the reasons I was a trash friend for a long time. When you're recovering from having a bad habit in a relationship, the only thing that's going to show the other individual that that's no longer the case is your intentionality to continue to model that something is different. And a lot of people don't want to feel like they have to prove something. And I understand that, but you're not really proving it. You're just showing up as your most authentic self consistently, intentionally, faithfully. So if I used to pop off at the mouth all the time and then I stop popping off at the mouth all the time and you see that enough times, it will become the new narrative and the new thing that you associate with me. Does that make sense? But if I'm inconsistent,
and I feel like sometimes, sometimes we don't give it time.
Nobody wants to give anything time. But this is how growth happens. Grace plus truth over time. That's Dr. Henry Cloud, who's like the father of boundaries. He says that all the time in one of his books that I love called Changes That Heal.
You're going to read it in the club. I've read it. I love it so much.
Changes That Heal will wreck your life. but it's a good wreck though. Because again, grace plus truth over time. Everybody was like, well, you got to be gracious. It was like, well, you got to tell the truth. It was like, whatever you're doing, you got to give it time. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So yeah.
Look, just on Ani, what's up? Thanks for hanging out with the Pursuit Club. I hope you join. She says, I have a Discord for all my married at first sight needs. No need to put friends through that. Look, and I think a new season started. I have not watched that show. People keep telling me to watch it. Those shows will stress me out. Them messed up relationships, I will be worked up watching the TV. Cheney says this, what's the first type of question you can ask a stranger to bring a conversation? I think she means above the surface. Like instead of it saying shallow.
Yeah, she wants to go deep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's some things that come to mind when it comes to like trying to go deeper with a stranger?
You can use phrases like tell me more about that. Right. You're inviting people to you when it's kind of like, hey, do you want to go to the pool? Yes. Okay. So then they show up at the pool. It's like, you trying to get in the water? Yeah. All right. Are you coming? Like, come on. Like you're using specific language. Like with my daughter who's 4, we took her to the pool once and she was like, Mom, I want to go to the pool. I want to go to the pool. Okay. She communicated a desire. So we were like, all right, we'll take her to the pool. We get to the pool and, you take your layers off and you put your towel down. It's like, hey, do you want to come in? And she was like, yes. So then you kind of walk her to the edge and then you get in. It's like, all right, you want to put your foot in? So you're kind of like guiding and leading a person into like the next thing, into that vulnerability or that intimacy. And so with somebody you just met, you're getting to know, it's like, hey, how long you been going to this gym? Oh, about 6 years. Oh, you're from the area? Like, are you from the area? Like, are you from here? Like 6 years is a long time to go to, like you're trying to invite them to share more. And you can tell when a person wants to and when a person doesn't, right? But if a person continues to lean into question, like the invitation to share, because again, a question is communicating to someone, hey, I would like to hear from you. Yeah. And so if a person continues to respond to your questions, they're at least communicating that they want to like give you answers to your questions, which again is saying something. But if a person's kind of like, yes, no, I don't know, maybe. And then you're like, all right,
I think we're done here. Yeah.
All right. Hey, goodbye.
This comment says, also friendships have seasons. This is my bestie talking. Sometimes there are seasons of closeness and seasons of distance. We've had this. So we've been friends since college, like 21 years. Mm-hmm. And so we have had this. And honestly, I'll say this, something you referenced earlier, how friends don't always serve the same purposes. Yeah. She used to have another best friend and I used to be so upset. She's probably cracking up right now. And that best friend was in New York and that best friend was as intentional with thoughtfulness and gift giving like she is. And I used to be like, oh my God, she gonna steal my friend.
That's what everybody worried about. They're worried about someone not choosing them. They're worried about being rejected. They're worrying about not being enough. Like we're all like, it's just what's plaguing all of us. Right. And so we carry that into our connections. And you're right. Like it's like, is it really a best if you have more than one? Cause I'd be like, I got like 4 best friends, but honestly, but then my best friends won't share that same sentiment. They'll be like, no, I have a like best friend. And I'm like, I mean, it for me in situations like this, this is again, a little side note. Mm-hmm. Find out what matters to the friend. Okay. Does the title matter more to the friend or the expectation? For me, good. I'm like, it's just about, as long as you're clear about my expectations, I don't care how you introduce me. I'm like this some girl KP I just met the other day. I'm like, hey, what's up, y'all? Like, cause I know who I am to you. I know like what we have, what we are. I don't necessarily need you to call me anything to validate our relationship. However, you're the type of person who's like, no, I want the title. The title matters to me. Like I work to earn this title. Like there's no shame in that. It's just a value. This is a difference of value. You get what I mean? And so you should know that as their friend so that you're not quick, like offending them, like over like something light, like not saying that they're your best friend when you introduce them or something like that. You just figure out like, well, what do you value? If you value the title, well, you gonna get I will tell everybody. That's because that's what matters to you, right? But if it doesn't matter to you, you can also communicate that. Like you don't have to go around telling everybody this, like, because I know like what we have. So, and not that the other person doesn't, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I love it because it sounds like you have to. This goes back to the word you keep saying, intentional. Like you got to be cool saying, hey, does this matter to you? And if you're a person who feels like you're too sensitive to have any of the conversations that's been referenced today, like to go deeper, there is healing. Okay. Welcome to the Pursuit Club. Okay. Go to heartconvos.com and go in. This comment says, I try to immediately connect with people on social media ASAP so I can stay in touch. What if folks don't have social media? Look.
Hey, before there was a time where people were making connections before the interwebs.
Yeah, I remember that.
Me too.
I feel old, but
No, but it's a legitimate question. Like, social media is the easiest way to make a connection with an individual.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's not always the best way to sustain a connection or to allow a connection to go deep. But you just have to be very, very intentional, because you do realize that social media is not meant for depth. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
social
not.
media, it's not been
It's
built
just
for
lightly
deep.
social.
Like, it's so think of it like this. In your relationships, you want your relationships to be deep and wide, right? You want your roots to go deep so that you can like blossom, right? Social media has wide reach, but not a lot of room for depth. Like, you can't really go deep, ask deep questions, like really be authentic and show up. That's why we have filters and all the things that are, you know what I'm saying, like, to distort who we are in anyway. Because showing up authentically on social media is almost like a death sentence. And so if social media is the way that you're used to connecting, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no shade in that. But I would just, if you're trying to connect with somebody, they don't have social media. Hey, can I get your number? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, can I shoot your email? You know what I'm saying? Like, or again, communicating desire for the person. Like, oh my God, I had such a great time. Or like, you know what? Like, I love it. Are you on Instagram? No, I don't really do social media. Would you mind if I texted you? You know what I'm saying? Like, or something. It's like, if that's too much, can I get your email? You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, the phone is a little more intimate, but again, find out if they're interested, you know what I'm saying, like, in connecting just on a different platform. So again, email, phone, whatever.
So believe it or not, even though the Pursuit Club is like virtual, and so we have a group inside of Facebook, but then we have YouTube specifically because some of our folks are not social media folks.
Yeah.
They're like, look, text me, have the club text me when y'all going live. Look, so right now, if you already know you're not heavy into social media, I want you to drop something in the comments. If you are all day social media, you drop something in the comments, because some of you guys may have connected or seen each other's names, especially in the club, but you don't know how they get down. So you guys drop it in the comments now. I want to say this. We're going to answer this one or two questions we may have time for, but let me throw this in. I want KB to tell us about this challenge she has coming up, and it's called Make Better Connections Challenge. And I want her to kind of walk us through what it is, and I want her to walk us through what we can get out of it, because it's meant to help us have better connections. I think, yes.
Yes, but I mean, if there are more questions, we can dialogue just a little more. I don't want to hijack y'all's time, but I also want to make space to answer people's questions.
Are you sure? Okay, we're gonna hold up. Okay, so y'all gotta stay. She got y'all on the hook on this one. Okay, so let's keep talking about friendship, and this goes back to a moment where you said, "Look, I admit I done been a bad friend." Me too, KB. I done been a bad friend. This best friend that's even on here now that I referenced. There was a time where I chose a man. Okay, I did. I was, I was, 19. It was just too much. You know what I mean? Now he's my husband now, but it was toxic then. We had to recover. So I was a bad friend, and I know firsthand that a friendship can recover. At least mine did, but I imagine some may not. I'm not sure, right? Yeah. I think it depends on the situation. What are your thoughts here?
Absolutely, you can recover. Like, can you? Will you? That's a different question. Should you? I think you should. I think you should always pursue reconciliation, but I think there's a difference between trust, forgiveness, reconciliation, like all those words that sometimes get overlapped. So the assumption sometimes is that, oh, if we reconcile, I have to trust you again. Not necessarily. Like, you would adjust your boundaries based on where the relationship dynamic is. Some people think that forgiveness is about what the other person admits to or doesn't admit to, or owns or doesn't own. Forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. And so let it go. And so, yeah, but how can you recover? Just like anything else, like, is like in your body recovers once it's been injured, right? So let's say you cut your arm or you cut your hand. Well, first thing you're going to do is you're going to diagnose like what's happening. So you're like, you don't look at that cut and say, oh my God, my hand is broken. I can't use it though, but just cut it off. Just amputate now. Like, just get rid of it. No, like, I mean, it hurts, right?
Some of us may. Some of us may.
again. And I'm like, hey, if you're gonna, I tell people all the time, listen, if you're gonna cut someone off because you have a deep cut on your hand, like it's a deep wound, it's a deep cut. But if you're gonna opt to like cut that person off, you have to think about how to get about life now without a hand, and like how to recover from not having a hand.
They took
right?
up space.
Correct. And people try to act like they don't. People be cutting off
Mm-hmm.
people like they're not actually attached to them in some way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when they don't take the proper time to, you can like unattach from someone, right? Healthily.
Mm-hmm.
So again, sometimes people listen to my content, they're like, well, she just believes that people should stay in toxic relationships. No. I'm just saying, do your work, because
Mm-hmm.
you can't control how somebody else is going to respond. You can't control them, but you can do your work to make sure that if you're going to unattach, like you do it in the healthiest way possible for you. This ain't even for them. This is for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, you have a deep cut on your hand. So you need to diagnose like, okay, I have a deep cut on my hand. My hand is not broken. It's not turning blue. It's not affected. I have a deep cut and I'm bleeding. Okay. So now that I've diagnosed it, I need to apply the proper treatment to that.
Mm-hmm.
Proper treatment only comes from a proper diagnosis. So again, people need to be honest about their hurt, their wound, like what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
People typically don't want to look at it. Their hand gets cut and they're like, oh. And then they like, well, I'm just going to act like it's not there. I'm just going to act like I'm not hurt. I'm going to say, okay, you keep doing that. It's going to mess around and get infected. And it's going to get worse. And then it's going to show up in the next situation. You know what I'm saying? Now you bleed all over all other people. You get what I mean? Like, so here you go. You got this deep wound. You've diagnosed it. Now you're treating it. So I'm going to get some gauze. I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to join the Make Better Connections Challenge. I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? Join the club. I'm going to talk to somebody. I'm going to journal. I'm going to do whatever I need. I'm going to pray. I'm going to go to church, whatever you're going to do, right? You're going to treat it appropriately, and then understand that the last and final phase of recovering from an injury is recovering. So there's a time of recovery. So your hand is going to be wrapped. You've treated it. You've done everything you can. Your hand not better. Like your hand is it's on its way. It's been set up to be better, but it's not just better because you did all the work. You get what I mean? Yeah. And I think people don't really embrace that recovery process. It don't mean, again, you can't use your hand. It doesn't mean that you got to cut it. Like, no, but it's like, my hand is weak right now. And what's crazy is, like, as I've been studying, I mean, I don't know how candidly I can talk about Jesus or faith or whatever.
Please talk about him.
Okay.
So, Pastor,
awesome.
yes.
So I've been studying the book of Hebrews all summer, and I'm in chapter 12, and you know, it talks about discipline after like the Hall of Faith, which is like chapter 11. You get to 12, and it's talking about like, all right, like nobody likes discipline, but then the next verse it says like strengthen. Hold on, let me just go ahead and read it. It says because I don't want to misquote it. It says, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay. Therefore, this is Hebrews 12:12. So it says, therefore, strengthen the hand, right? The hands that are weak and the knees that are feeble, and make straight the paths for your feet. So I wrote in my, so this is what my Bible look like, right? So I'm like writing notes and stuff, right? So I wrote over here, why? Okay. So it was like strengthen the hands that are weak and the knees that are feeble, and make straight the paths of your feet. So I'm like, why? And then it says, so that the limb which is lame may not be put out of joint, but rather be healed. So essentially, what is that saying? It's like, so that it won't get made worse. It won't be made worse. Like address the wound, address your hand is weak. You can't use it. Great. Like let it recover. And if you mess around and act like it's not hurt, you're going to mess around and like put something like now we ain't talking about a cut. You done dislocated something. You done put something out of, you know what I'm saying, out of place. And now, you know what I'm saying? Like you've made the situation work. Right. So if you really want to heal from an offense or being disappointed or let down, like literally diagnose it correct, honestly, treat it well, and then give yourself time to recover.
So good. So I knew you loved Jesus. Okay.
Oh yeah. It's not even
I knew it. There was a I said, I knew it. I knew it.
And what's funny, people are like, are you a Christian? I'm like, absolutely. Like, I absolutely. There's no way that I'm saying this stuff that I'm saying and I don't love Jesus. Like, because it don't make no sense. Why would I be out here championing like relationships, reconciliation, like have that hard conversation, like lean in again, forgive, you know what I'm saying? Like own your stuff. That's the things that the Savior has like Jesus has called us to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not that brilliant. Like, this is just all in this book. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so everything about Heart Combos, honestly, like the essence of everything, that every friendship you've ever seen, every video you've ever seen, every post you've ever seen, the essence behind all of it is this. What I put on social media is strategy, tactic, But then you start leaning into my content or my challenges, and now you're starting to get principles, and you realize like, oh, these are like biblical principles. And that, I mean, the truth about biblical principles is they're principles, so they work for everybody. It's not like gravity only works for Christians today. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like the rain falls on the land and like only Christian farmers get like produce. Like, no, like principles are principles, right? Like God, it works for everybody. And so there are people who don't even, I mean, who are in my coaching programs, my inner circle coaching programs, my primary connection coaching program, like who walk with me closely, who do not believe what I believe, but they're smart enough to understand that like, but the stuff she's teaching is truth, and it will work for me if I apply it. And my hope is that they see the goodness of God and the glory of God, like as they are listening to all this stuff. Because like, where does this come from? Well, it ain't from me.
Let's go.
So yeah.
You mentioned something about in the injury phase of recovering, in the analogy you gave with the hand, and how it can bleed over into another relationship. And so this comment is here. It says, I think the cutting off question depends on the health of the relationship before the injury. I think that ties into something you said. Like when you were like, if you're not healing well in where you are now, when you're going into the next one, you can come into that one not healthy, and now the foundation is not strong.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to kind of call that out of maybe some of us might need a little bit of healing when it comes to how we're showing up in a future friendship we may be asking God for or just really hoping for.
Yeah, and that's a great point that they make. Like, hey, this didn't recover well before. Now there's been more injury applied to the previous injury, and now we have to cut it off. And that's true. Like, I think that happens. It's like, yeah, there's no coming back from this because this went untreated for so long. You get what I mean? So you go to the doctor and they're like, hey, if you would have come in initially, right, you know, like this would have been fine. But because you've let this go on for so long, now it's not, again, that there can't be like a treatment, but it won't be as easy as maybe these other things. And that happens oftentimes. Again, people will comment on my friend tips or whatever and be like, well, this doesn't work. And I'm like, and it's very likely that something I'm saying, you're like, well, I can't do that. And it might be true. I just need you to know that you can't do that and then figure out what you can do. You get what I mean? So whether somebody like listens to me, doesn't listen to me, I need you to see yourself the most clearly. Like if we are all standing in front of our own mirror and the mirror is not clear, that means that you don't know who you are, how you are, or why you are, right? So if you're not doing your work to understand who you are, how you are, and why you are every single day, every single moment and minute of every single day, like every thought that comes in, emotion, feeling, idea, belief, principle, like mood, attitude, like everything that makes us who we are in our being, if you can't make sense of that, then your hope in other relationships is going to really, really struggle. Because again, years and years of attachment research have like shown us that people who have incredible relationships with other people are people who have done the work to make sense of themselves. So I'm just asking people to like do your own work and like make sense of you, right? You know what I mean? Like even if you was junky and jacked, like own it, because that's gonna set you up for success. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like down the line, nobody's asking you to be fixed now. Just be honest about the fact that you got issues, right? So yeah, I hope that.
So good. This is the last question, guys. We have time to give KB, and this one I think is a bit more. It's a little bit generic. And I say generic because toxic is a word that I believe is so overused online. I know everybody ain't online. We done already confessed in the comments. Everybody ain't an online person. But in general, you know, how do you know if a relationship is toxic? Now, I believe there are different levels and spaces of toxicity, okay? It's a whole thing. But, and I know it can sometimes even be relative to that person, but what would you say? Like, I think a relationship could be toxic if
it is destructive, if it is dangerous, if like it is at threat of like killing you. That is what something like when something is toxic, that is what it is, right? Not when something is hard. Like toxic and hard aren't the same things, right? Toxic and challenging aren't the same things. Good. Toxic and irritating aren't the same things. Toxic and they've taken forever to get it together aren't the same things. Toxic, you know what I mean? Like we call everything toxic because again, it's a hot word right now. But I think if people are just honest, which again, at the beginning, you talked about a heart combo. They're honest, elephant size, authentic, real, and transparent. Well, it's really just the acronym for heart. I don't even think people really make that connection. But HEART, right? People can't just start with honesty. Can we just be honest? Is this toxic or is this just getting on your nerves? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this toxic or is this like requiring you to like do everything you don't want to do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is this toxic, or is it requiring you to love somebody in a way that you just feel like you don't have the capacity? If you feel like you don't have, like, you can just be honest, like, I just don't have the capacity to deal with this. That's fine. Like, they might not be toxic. You just might not have the capacity to deal with it.
You might just be irritated.
You didn't say that. You just might be like, I didn't hit my wall. Like, great. Own that, know that, and then adjust your boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, don't call the relationship toxic. So
I'm getting convicted.
I'm sorry.
Right now, I'm like, will he do this and get on my nerve? No, I know my husband ain't toxic. It's okay.
but again, I think in the culture that we live in, we believe the lie that, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything is toxic that's uncomfortable. Like, everything is toxic if it's not serving us. Everything is toxic if it's not protecting our peace. And again, I'm having this conversation from the platform, like my base platform. If you mess around and we talking from the Christian, like strictly like biblical worldview, then all the disciples are toxic. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people in ministry, like in the book, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the 12 dudes that Jesus picked, they all got issues. Like Peter straight lied to him, told him, I got you. I'm going to be there for you. Like, there's no way I would deny you. Denies him. You're going to be like, yes, Judas like betrays him. But if you think about, again, the relationship dynamic, like, well, who's better? We need you to choose. You know what I'm saying? Like, between us, like, what kind of friend does that? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, which one of us do you like most?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, wait a minute, guys.
He needed
like,
the title. KB, he needed the title of best
friend. Clearly valued the title. Clearly. Like, okay. And Jesus is like, really? but when we look at scriptures, like, people with issues, with bad habits, with unhealthy like capacity and ability and things about them is not a reason to be like, yeah, so this relationship ain't meant to be. You know what I mean? Because then we're calling people to a standard that, again, we don't even live by, you know? Right. And it's like, yeah. So for the Christian, biblically speaking, we've been given a set of instructions for how to relate to people, and we're not doing that. But again, if we come back to just the base, like on the base level, toxic relationships are relationships that are abusive relationships are toxic. Like, an abuse, there is no justification, explanation.
And all the forms of that abuse.
All the forms, like verbal abuse, yes, physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual, like every kind of abuse. You know what I mean? Like, there are numbers, hotlines, resources, like all of that. So I'm not saying take your hard combos and apply to your abuser, like you're in your relationship with your abuser. No, like, your abuser don't need to know your expectations and boundaries. You don't even need to be talking to your abuser. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello. And so no. That's toxic. Right. But if we're not talking about abuse, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think the only other way that I would say a person is toxic is a person who looks into their mirror, they cannot see themselves clearly, and they refuse to do the work to get to that place where they can. That to me is a toxic relationship, because not only are you saying that you're refusing, like, to grow or to continue to become the best version of yourself, like just for you, but you don't care about that in our relationship dynamic, which means that you're only going to treat me as good as you treat yourself, right? Which is horrible. You know what I'm saying? Which is horrible. And I'm like, you can look at that in a person's life and be like, yeah, this isn't going to work, because you don't even want it for you. So I know that there's nothing that you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to want it for me. And those relationships become toxic when we're staying with people who refuse to see themselves for who they are, how they are, and why they are. Not staying with people who just have issues and who slow to grow and all this kind of stuff. But like, people who are like, yeah, I won't own my stuff. I won't admit it. I won't get help. I'm going to gaslight you. Like, all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, nah.
Yes, man. Okay, so this was so powerful. I need all y'all that's on here, to not check out when we give you the actual tool to help you grow in the connection. Yes. Right? Yes. We just had all the good conversation. We have. Please don't drop off now. So a couple things. One, we have been talking to KB Newton, and heartcombos.com. Bookmark it on your computer. She's having challenges and resources and things for us. But I really want her to plug this challenge, and we may do this challenge in the Pursuit Club. So all my Pursuit Club baddies right now, drop something in the comments. Because there are some of you who are already in the Pursuit Club, and I want you to tell me if you want to do this challenge after she talks about it. But if you're not in the Pursuit Club, go to itspriscillab.com. It's only $10 a month right now. As soon as we hit that anniversary in 2 months, your girl's shooting up. Let me just let you know. My clubbers have told me you do too much work for this race. So I'm just letting y'all know it is what it is now. But KB, can you please tell us about the Make Better Connections Challenge that's coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the thing, y'all. People are watching the Olympics, and you think about like Simone Biles, and you think about her story and how she is like literally the greatest like American gymnast, like some would say ever. And if you won't say ever, you can at least agree for this generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is the other day my husband made the comment about the fact that she has already accomplished and superseded like all there is to accomplish and supersede. Yet she's out here making up moves. You know what I'm saying? Like because every day she is like seeking to be a better version of herself and a better version of herself. And yesterday's Olympics, yesterday's accomplishments, yesterday's like wins and medals, like they're great and they're there, but that's not today. Today, I'm going to like tap into my potential today and continue to become better. And so what I am seeing is that when it comes to athletics, especially being I'm an official DJ for the Indiana Pacers. I've been working for them since 2013. And I watched the LeBron Jameses. I watched the celebrities come in and all of these players that are here, right? Giannis, and they just won the championship and stuff. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, these people are literally doing all that it takes to be the best version of themselves, to be better daily. But I don't see this kind of work ethic in our relationship. Like I meet some boss women, and I'm sure there's some boss women on here. And I mean, you're running your businesses, you're pursuing your dreams, like you're making six figures, you're doing all the things. But when you take an audit of your relationships are like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. And so same thing, Christians, like leading in ministry, like I got position, all the kind of stuff. But when you pull away from all of your titles and all of the places that you serve, what do your closest relationships look like? And your response to that is, what close relationships? You know what I mean? Because all of your ties are just based on the fact that you're like with other people who are also invested in ministry, right? And so that is no way to live. God has designed us for deep, meaningful connection, one with him and with other people. But we don't know how to make those connections better and better every day. And so, I created this thing earlier in the year called the Make Better Connections Challenge. I didn't know that it would be as life-changing as it is. And literally, every single person like who opted into the challenge, like it's a 5-day experience, a 5-day training where you can join me for an hour a day if you do the general admission, or you can do the VIP admission, right, which is 2 hours with me. So before the challenge starts, I give you a whole pre-show. Like you get a whole like training that general admission doesn't get. You get to ask questions, you get to interact, we get to kind of dialogue like this. We go deep. And for those 5 days, we talk about the 5 connections that matter the most. 1, your personal connections. 2, your professional connections. Your primary connection, your problematic connections, because people act like the ones that are like hard, don't need instruction. Like, no, we're gonna talk about how to deal with the problematic connections. And then the last one are your proactive connections. And so if you go to heartconfidence.com, you can kind of see like a little bit of the layout. I think right now, actually, tickets go on sale tomorrow. So
do they?
Yes, tickets go on sale tomorrow because the next challenge is August 2nd through the 6th. So tomorrow is Monday. Yes.
Yep. Look at me. Why am I like, what's the date? Tomorrow?
Listen, like legit, like tickets go on sale tomorrow. The general admission ticket is $97. The VIP admission ticket is $297. And again, not only do you get the 5-day challenge, but for the general admission, you got pre-trainings, you're going to get content, you're going to get PDFs, free stuff in the actual members portal. But for the VIP, you get access to the replays every day, all the way up to the end of the challenge. And so you can watch it over and over again. You can hear it over and over again. And so, I'm really excited about this one. I've got some powerhouses coming behind me. It's so cool that you're like, hey, maybe we'll do this as a group. That would be dope. But yeah, the Make Better Connections Challenge is created to help you learn how to connect and communicate at the highest levels. Because if you're gonna have like relationships, they should be great relationships. Like all of this mediocrity, like that we settle for relationally. Absolutely. Like, and what's crazy is we have that expectation for everything else in our relationship, in our life, except for relationships. Like we expect that in work, in business, in ministry, in, you know what I'm saying? Like professionally, like if we're athletes, like we are not pursuing mediocrity. It's like, I want to be the best.
Yeah. We don't want trifling people.
But we settling for trifling people. We're settling for mediocre relationships. We're settling for relationships that don't really serve us, but are kind of scratching the itch right now. You know what I mean? And then here we go. We're in our 30s, hitting our 40s. Like I'm smooth on my way to 40 soon. I'm trying to keep it as tight and right as I can. And I'm like, okay, I wasted all of my 20s. You're gonna be like a good chunk of my 20s, like trying to become everything else that everybody wanted me to become. You know what I'm saying? And just the lack of satisfaction, the amount of isolation and loneliness and disconnection, you know what I'm saying, that I just felt like I'm not satisfied. And so if you want to learn how to make better connections, like I'm going to, again, lay out how to do that in all 5 of those areas. Again, personally, professionally, because your relationships at work matter. You get what I mean? Like how you're networking, how you're connecting with people, like matter. Your primary connection, which is really your relationship with you. So that's that in and of itself is probably one of the most life-changing days. Your problematic connections, all of this aversion to conflict and avoiding the conversation, and I don't want to. I don't want to do it.
Like, we didn't get into is the specifics about having these tough conversations,
but actually doing the work to lean into the difficult, like messiness of like relationships. We go there, and then really your proactive connections, like who you need to be connected to. Like I love the fact that y'all are connected. You know what I'm saying, like Coach Priscilla, because the thing about it is who you connect to, who you submit to, like who you allow to lead you and speak into your life, like matters, right? Because every thought, intention, like all of it is a seed, right? And so she's planting seeds like this whole time, like we've been planting seeds. And so having said that, like what are the relationships that are going to proactively get me where I want to grow? You know what I mean? Not go, but grow, like where I want to grow. And so we talk about that day 5. So the Make Better Connections Challenge is just this on like a million in about a week. And again, I'm serious. So again, tickets go on sale. What you can do though, like your call to action right now is go to heartcombos.com and just get on the wait list. Like there's like nothing to do but to give me your email, because you will be the first to know like when the tickets are on sale tomorrow. And so again, you want to get on the wait list.
And saw join the wait list. So you're throwing your email in there. That's it. And then as soon as everything goes live, you'll get all the notifications. So go to heartcombos.com. Now let me say this. Before we go, can we pray for KB real quick? Oh, we got some powerhouses in here. I mean, women of all backgrounds in here and diversities. And so I would really love for us to just cover you real quick. And then y'all, we're about to do our Pursuit Club goodbye, which is kind of hood, but we love it.
Let's do it.
So Lord, we lift up KB right now in the name of Jesus, and we simply cover her. We ask you right now that there be an increase of your presence as she speaks, that she speaks fluidly and easily by your Holy Spirit. Father, we ask that her company, aka ministry, continues to be impactful everywhere she goes. Lord, we know that this is something you have called her to. You can sense your spirit behind it. So, Father, we will do what we can to cover her in prayer. Join with her as you so lead us. And Father, we know that there is something great in store for her because you're a great God and you do great things. So we thank you, Father, for what she's imparted into us. And we pray for full blessings back at her for the time she gave. In Jesus' name, amen. Yes.
Thank you so much.
God is so, so good. And so we're about to drop this goodbye. Y'all say bye to KB first. We're going to take her off screen. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Let's hit this goodbye in the club. Again, if you ain't in the club yet, you don't get to have all these talks in Baddies Book Club and the things. So make sure you are going to itspriscillab.com and joining the club. But right now, we about to hit that bye. Club, you ready? Goodbye. Goodbye. Hey. Goodbye. Off key and everything. Say good. Bye. Yes. See you ladies on Wednesday for Baddies Book Club. Can't wait to see y'all there. Bye.